Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, where we dive deep into the wild world of politics, global affairs, and all the juicy stuff that's shaping our world right now. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because today, we've got a bombshell story that's got everyone talking. I'm your host, your name, and we're going full vlog mode on this one. Camera rolling, no script, just me chatting with you like we're grabbing coffee. So, grab your drink, settle in, because we're breaking down U.S. President Donald Trump's latest interview where he straight up says Israel had the strongest lobby in Congress for years but is now losing its grip. Yeah, you heard that right. The man himself acknowledging a shift in power that's got implications for everything from U.S. foreign policy to the Middle East peace process. We're aiming for around 3,000 words here, so buckle up. I'll weave in all the research, quotes, and my thoughts as we go. Let's jump in. First off, picture this. It's September 2, 2025, and Trump is sitting down with the Daily Caller for an exclusive chat. This isn't some off-the-cuff remark at a rally, it's a published interview where he's reflecting on Israel's influence in Washington. He says, quote, "Israel was the strongest lobby I've ever seen. They had total control over Congress, and now they don't. Zero whoa, right, Trump, who's always positioned himself as super pro-Israel, remember moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem in his first term, is now admitting that the once ironclad hold the pro-Israel lobby had on Capitol Hill is slipping. He adds, I'm a little surprised to see that, and ties it directly to the ongoing Gaza war, saying Israel might be winning militarily but is tanking in the public relations department. This is huge because for decades, groups like AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, have been seen as untouchable power players in U.S. politics. They've funneled millions into campaigns, shaped legislation, and made sure any criticism of Israel was political suicide. But according to Trump, that's changing fast. Let me back up a sec and give you some context, because if you're not deep into this stuff, it might sound like insider baseball. The Israel lobby isn't some shadowy conspiracy. It's a network of organizations, donors, and advocates pushing for strong U.S.-Israel ties. AIPAC is the big dog, but there are others like the Conference of Presidents of major American Jewish organizations and even evangelical Christian groups who support Israel for religious reasons. Back in the day, say 15 to 20 years ago, as Trump mentions, you couldn't whisper a bad word about Israel without getting hammered. Remember when politicians would trip over themselves to speak at AIPAC conferences? Trump nails it. If you go back 20 years, I will tell you, Israel had the strongest lobby in Congress of anything or body, or of any company or corporation or state that I've ever seen. Israel was the strongest. Today, it doesn't have that strong a lobby. It's amazing. 10. He's spot on about the history. Think about the Iraq War era or post-9/11. Israel's allies in Congress pushed hard for policies that aligned with Israeli interests, like sanctions on Iran or aid packages worth billions. But fast forward to now, and things are shifting. Why? Well, the Gaza conflict is ground zero for this. Since October 7, 2023, when Hamas attacked Israel, the Israeli response has been intense. We're talking over 40,000 Palestinian deaths reported, massive destruction, and a humanitarian crisis that's dominated headlines. Trump points out that Israel is losing the war of public relations, and he's not wrong. Social media has exploded with videos from Gaza, rubble, starving kids. Protests on U.S. campuses. It's not just lefties anymore, even some Republicans are questioning the blank check support. Trump specifically calls out that 50% of Republicans under 50 have an unfavorable view of Israel now, up from 35% a couple years back. 21 Pew poll from March backs this up. 53% of U.S. adults overall disapprove of Israel's actions in Gaza, a jump from 42% in 2022. 14. That's a generational earthquake, folks. Younger Americans, influenced by TikTok, Instagram, and campus activism, see Israel through a different lens, one focused on human rights, occupation, and equality. Now, let's talk about how this is playing out in Congress. Trump says the lobby had total control, and historically, bipartisan support for Israel was rock solid. Bills like the annual $3.8 billion in military aid passed with overwhelming majorities. But cracks are showing. Progressive Democrats like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez (AOC) and the Squad have been vocal critics, calling for ceasefires and conditioning aid. 22 Trump even name-drops AOC in the interview, saying figures like her are hurting Israel's image. On the Republican side, isolationist voices in the MAGA wing are questioning endless foreign entanglements. Remember the fights over Ukraine aid? Similar vibes are creeping into Israel discussions. In recent primaries, AIPAC spent tens of millions to unseat critics like Jamal Bowman, but they didn't win every battle, and the fact they have to fight so hard shows the influence is waning. 24. From my research, diving into X posts and news snippets, this sentiment is echoing everywhere. One user on X noted, Trump acknowledged that the Israel lobby is losing influence, and linked it to shifting public opinion. 29 Another post highlights how 53% of Americans now hold unfavorable views, tying it directly to Gaza. 14 Even international outlets like TRT Africa are reporting on this, saying Trump is surprised by the generational shift in his own party. 52 It's not just talk. Polls from Gallup and others show approval for Israel's actions dropping across the board, especially among Democrats down to 18%, but also independents and younger GOP folks. 15. Okay, let's zoom out. What does this mean for the average person? If you're in the U.S., this could reshape elections. Pro-Israel groups have poured over $100 million into 2024 races alone, but if their sway is fading, we might see more balanced debates on Middle East policy. For Israel, it's a wake-up call. Netanyahu's government has relied on unconditional U.S. backing, but with Trump warning they need to get that war over with, because it's hurting Israel, even their biggest ally is signaling impatience. 3 Trump compares October 7th to the Holocaust in severity, saying deniers are out there, but stresses the PR damage is real. 22 He's like, they may be winning the war, but they're not winning the world of public relations. 10 This echoes what experts have said. Israel's narrative control is slipping in the age of viral videos and global activism. Diving deeper into the research, I scoured web searches and X for this. There's a consensus that social media is the game changer. Pro-Palestinian content has billions of views, while Israel's Hasbara efforts, their PR machine, are struggling to keep up. One article notes that Trump's comments come amid growing U.S. criticism, with protests disrupting events and boycotts hitting brands. 5 On X, users are buzzing. Trump says Israel lobby losing grip on Congress, with some calling it a seismic shift. 17 Even French outlet Uma.com reports Trump saying Israel no longer has total control. 38 And get this, Trump boasts, nobody has done more for Israel than I have, citing actions against Iran, but even he sees the tide turning. 21 Now, my take, as your vlogger, this is fascinating because Trump isn't anti-Israel, he's pro, but pragmatic. He's reading the room. Voters are tired of endless wars, and with economic issues at home, foreign aid is under scrutiny. If the lobby weakens, we could see real policy changes, maybe conditioned aid, pushes for two-state solutions, or less automatic vetoes at the UN. But it's risky. A less influential Israel lobby might embolden critics, leading to isolationism that hurts alliances. What do you think? Is this a good thing for balanced policy, or a danger to U.S.-Israel ties? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. Let's keep going because there's more layers. Historically, the lobby's power came from strategic donations and voter mobilization. AIPAC claims an 89% win rate for endorsed candidates in 2024, but as one source notes, their propaganda is increasingly seen as outdated. 24 Trump's interview highlights how public denial of October 7th atrocities isn't helping, but neither is the prolonged Gaza operation. Experts like those at the Economic Policy Institute or foreign policy think tanks argue this shift is generational. Millennials and Gen Z prioritize justice and equality over Cold War-era alliances. 15. From X searches, threads are lit. One user says, Trump reveals Israel's image eroding even in the U.S., linking to polls showing 50% unfavorable among young Republicans. 34 Another. The war is harming Israel's global standing. 30 International voices, like in Hindustan Times, echo Trump's surprise at the loss of control. 10 This isn't isolated. It's part of a broader trend where global opinion on Israel has soured, with boycotts and UN resolutions gaining traction. Implications for Trump. He's walking a tightrope. As president, he needs Jewish and evangelical voters, but also the isolationist base. By acknowledging the decline, he's positioning himself as a truth teller. But critics say it's hypocritical. He benefited from lobby support. One ex-post calls it a dilemma for Israel, noting Washington's support isn't unlimited. 35. Wrapping this up, we've covered the quote, background, research, and vibes. Trump's words signal a new era where Israel's lobby isn't the unbeatable force it once was. Whether that's due to Gaza, social media, or shifting demographics, it's reshaping politics. Thanks for watching, folks. If you enjoyed, like, share, and subscribe. What's your hot take? Comment below, and I'll see you in the next. Peace out.